right, just a quick microphone test before we go out live. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, just going to... There we go. Nice good whistle for the morning there just to say good morning. And we have the Bejo Trustees fine cars out on the circuit at the moment. Just looking on the screens, you'll see the Jag E-Type coming through there. And that Jag E-Type is currently being driven. If I can just take a look, my early morning sleep crust out of my eyes over here. It is Ron Hollis that's in that beautiful E-Type. You'll see behind there is the BMW 635 in the Jägermeister colors. But my name is Byron Heights, and I'm being joined by none other than Frankie Yennis, a real legend here at Killarney for so many years now. How many years is it now, Frankie, that you've been here at Killarney commentating?
Well, first of all, Byron, good morning. And I want to say hello on behalf of Gary Gaza Fleming, who's just downstairs sorting out a few problems. And then for Tiny Brunt Emil Brunt of Tiny Spitbox. And a big thanks to Wing for Motors and Best Price for my car for the main sponsors for 2021. And to get back to your question, Byron, 27 years next month. So yeah, it's been a lifetime so far.
Well, that's almost 3 full decades, Frankie. I know you actually started in timing, as a matter of fact, and the tools have changed over the years for all your different areas of motorsport. I remember you did the manual timing. You always told me in the old days. Now we have this lovely electronic timing. We have bigger screens in the commentary box now. It's amazing how things have been over the years, and having seen some great racing.
Well, yeah, it started for me March 1994 with timing, lap scoring, and evolved to this. But enough of me. I think everybody out there knows enough of Frankie Yennis and Gary Fleming. I want to say to you, Mr. Byron, I had a big welcome back. You started with us in 2009. Then for a couple of years, you took a sabbatical because of work situation. You came back in 2019, and the very first race meeting of 2020, when they still sprayed our hair, can you remember all that? Before we knew what the world was going to come to. And what the world is going to come to. And then a lot of things changed after that. And you sat out for last year due to financial circumstances at all the clubs, because I mean all the clubs felt the pinch. But you are back, and you are fully part of the team again for this year and the future going forward. So from Emil, Gary, and myself, and from FC Nivot and all the other guys, a big welcome back.
Well, folks, it's the first race of the day then. The first of 3 races today for the Bejo Trustees fine cars. I see a few nice cars out there. The field has grown, actually. There goes the VW Passat, the 5-cylinder Passat. To see the Skyline has joined the ranks. There's one of 2 MGBs out there. There's a V8 MGB as well. The Jaguar E-Type of Rollins that will come out there as well. And, well, I see in that BMW 3 Series, that beautiful green BMW 3 Series, that is Gunther Appelgren. That is a driver also in the Gymkhana Series with the Golf Mark 1. Spider-Man is his affectionate nickname there. I see behind him, that looks like Jan Kukumur in the RX-7 Mazda. And, well, it looks like we've had a good grow of field over here. Gunther Appelgren. Now, remember, this is not a wheel-to-wheel type of race. This is a index of performance type of race. We have a few classes, well, we have one class, actually. But now it's all about consistency, keeping as close as you can to your lap times that you've put in. I see Gunther Appelgren will basically be, I think, pole position with Jan Kukumur alongside him in the RX-7. Melanie Cook in the BMW E36. The 3 Series come over there. Then we have, there goes the Escort. Little Mini in there as well. Always a great little Mini. Dave Alexander is the only Mini out there. As I see the Mini 2 Minis over there. 1,000 1-litre Mini of Stuart Grieg. And then Fred Phillips Also in the field, the MGA of Roger Lewis, Hollis. Ron Hollis, I should rather say, in the Jaguar E-Type. I said Rollins for some silly reason. But Derek Hulse in there as well in the Austin Healey Sprite. There's 2 Austin Healeys in the field. I saw one of the MGAs earlier on, Gary, was being taken on the flatbed to the pits. That what delayed our qualifying sessions earlier on. So hopefully that car is back in the race. I think he is. I see him going down. That's the Sprite, the Austin Healey.
Very similar shape and style of bodywork between the Austin Healey Sprite and the MGB GT, which was pretty much the most popular in that series. See Gunther Appelgren coming up onto the front row of the grid. He'll be quite chuffed with that. Looks like it's going to be the RX-7 alongside him, the MX in there behind him. The first of the VW vehicles coming up. Third row of the grid on the outside. It looks like the Fox. No, it'll be the 4th row. The Mark 1 Escort moving up just in front of that. Look at that little Mini. Utterly immaculate. The 73 of Stuart Gregg. Doing a 1:35 with that little Mini. That must be quite an education looking across at Melanie Cook in this massive big BMW as you sit with your nether regions very close to the ground and you look up at this big BMW with a lady alongside you and say, okay, let's do battle against that.
Well, that's the whole thing, Gary. You've got this very long wheelbase BMW with a 6-cylinder motor in it and transversely mounted alongside this little, longitudinally mounted and the transversely mounted little Mini next door. But it was always like in the British Touring Car Championship many years ago, you had these big V8s against the little Minis. You had these big Ford Mustangs and you had all these big American cars, very powerful down the straights, but the little Minis, they had all the advantages in the corner, lower down as well, and everything. I had very nimble handling machines.
Some very interesting footage that we've seen on Facebook through the last year or two from some of the fast-flowing circuits out in Europe on that style of motorsport where you've got small and nimble versus big, heavy and powerful. And, well, they change positions on a very regular basis depending on whether they're going around a corner or down a straight. But they show lots of respect for one another because they've obviously been doing it for an extended period of time and are accustomed to those variances.
Well, you see it very much at the Goodwood Festival of Speed back in the UK, Gary, and I see there that 44 machine of that's the Morgan 4, and that is being driven currently by Fred Phillips. Alongside him is one of 2 Mazdas. We spoke about the rotary Wankel engine Mazda of Jan Kukumur. Then we have the normal piston engine of number 1. That is Robert Toscano. The number 0 of Redlingates in the Ford Escort. Few, like I said, also the Sprite that as they go on their warm-up lap, there's that Passat that is in there as well, and that is being currently driven by Maurizio Toscano, and then the Nissan Skyline that we go in there as well. That is being by Stephen Emanuel. Sorry, Stephen Manuel.
Can only be fun to ride a Skyline. The Austin Healey Sprite in the 15th position, that's Derek Hulse, 1:40.3 with that motor car. So quite a variation in time from the fastest to the slowest. Josh Dovey also out there, the MGA twin cam of Richard Champion. Di Dugmore in the Austin Healey Sprite. Comes along for so many years.
Little pocket rocket that Austin Healey. It's a small little machine actually, that, and a real collector's item. I see now the pace cars taking them around, and we'll watch them as they go off the line. Gary pointed out Gunther Appelgren in the E36 BMW. As I say, a Gymkhana man as well. Front wheel drive in Gymkhana, rear wheel drive here in the fine cars, and then Jan Kukumura alongside him. They were about less than a second away from each other in qualifying. Sometimes you'll find the qualifying times will be quite spaced out between them. But remember, this is not always about on-track position. This is about your times and how consistent you can be. And you'll always find out after the race how they work out the index of performance.
Having said that, whatever's in front of you, you want to get past it.
I think at the bare end of the day, Gary, you've knocked it right on the head there. It doesn't matter what times it is. There's somebody in front of you pedal to the metal and you want to catch them. So here we go down the back straight now. And the pace car will pull in to the pits. They'll do a rolling start, I'm sure, here. And there's a little Austin Healey Sprite, number 81. On there, the second of the minis going in there as well. The 81 is Derek Hulse. I remember he always campaigned BMW 3-liter CSL for a short while as well, which is also a lovely car to see. But now he's part of what they call, part of what I think Michael J was calling the other night, Gary, the British invasion, where there was a good bunch of British cars in there.
Make no mistake. Lots and lots of classics. So, Appelgren leading them around. I think it's the first time that he's ever been on pole position, if I have it correct. So that'll be a bit of a exciting moment for him coming around in that pole position. He'll be the man that determines the pace as they come up towards the line. So Byron Knight, full-time commentator, 2021, 10 years on and off this season. It's all about being here every meeting. Take him off the line.
Lights out and away we go. Start off the first of 3 fine car races. The Bejo Trustee fine car race. Everybody nice and neat there. Going to go into turn 1. Don't want to cause too much of a fracas. And it looks like normal order. Look at that little mini Gary going around the outside there of Melanie Cook. We were talking about this before the start. Now they're going to go side by side. The power of the BMW comes into effect now. But watch out as they go into turn 2. Starting to go Melanie Cook on the outside of Jan Kukumu's Mazda over there. But Jan Kukumu will just hold it. And look there at the mini.
Yeah, it's like watching international racing now. Once again, side by side. When Melanie gets the hammer down, I don't think she's going to be able to get through there because there is just not enough space. But obviously once they get out into the back main, then it's a completely different story. Melanie drops into that 4th position, right in there behind the Mini. It must be quite an education to ride a little car like that at these type of speeds. It was never designed to go this fast, that is for sure. As they come out into the back main, keep an eye on Stuart Gregg in the Mini 1000.
Well, look at the Mini 1000, Stuart Gregg going down the back straight now. Melanie Cook going to use every one of those 6 cylinders in that BMW to try and close up the gap. The Morgan, though, is right behind and falling a little bit back there of the crew in front of them, and then will be kept by that Mazda MX-5 over there as well. Fred Phillips, number 44, ahead of Robert Toscano, and then Rodney Green will be falling in there in the 7th position at the moment. We might have a separation here, basically. That is the Ford Escort that is now closing up on the Mazda, just a little bit further back with Austin, with the MG right behind them, the MGB.
That is one very, very quick little Mini. Look at that, actually going to go for that 2nd position. Yep, he's going to make it move up into section on the Jan Kukumu in the Mazda RX-7. So that Mini 1000 not being dusted that easily in a straight line. Appelgren that started in pole position leads them out as they go down towards turn number 2.
Yeah, and I think as well, Gary, as I said, Roger Lewis, who in qualifying had issues in the MGA, will not be taking part in this race. So unfortunately, one out there as well. But watch out there for the Fred Phillips Morgan being closed up there by Robert Toscano. He is the number 1 in the Mazda. We had a few of these Mazda MX-5s a number of years ago. And what happens is they were being campaigned by the likes of Sudi Mutai and also, but now what happens is we only have the one with Robert Toscano. The MGB will be also closing up the gap. That is Craig Redlingace, and that will be the top 8 at this time now as they go through the double apex right-hander at Car Care Clinic.
Well, Green is right in there as well. In fact, he's very, very close. It's point odds of a second. Back to Rodney Green, it's 56 thousandths of a second the last time they came across the line. So the MGB chasing down the Ford Escort. 2 different eras, 2 gentlemen sitting in their pride and joy, having fun, doing what they love on a Saturday afternoon.
Just don't want to forget a little bit further down the field. I see that 635 BMW, the Jägermeister BMW, and that's quite a bit further down the field. I think what happens is battling there with Chris Champion's MGB V8. I think McPherson is now up into 16th position ahead of Guy Dugmore in the Austin Healey Sprite. Gary, I see there's something going on.
Well, the lady racers said, guys, got an SMS, and the Girls Club says, show the boys how it works on a Saturday. Melanie Cook leads them out. Can you believe it? Stuart Gregg in that 2nd position. Appelgren that started in pole drops down to 3rd. He's got that RX-8 all over the back bumper, but there's a big gaggle of cars in there behind there that's not been lost to that leading group whatsoever.
No, it's the Jetta that's in there, Gary, that I actually have to check who is in that Jetta. It is Natasha Tischendorf, also another lady racer as well. And then behind as well, one of the Austins and the Passat going into turn 3 at the moment. I did see, though, that Melanie Cook, when you saw her go into the lead of the race, did set the fastest lap of this first of the fine car races. And I see Melanie Cook has now just done sector 1 now, quite quickly. A number 1:34.416 is her best time at the moment. It looks like she could better it on this lap.
Well, it shows the excitement of hitting the front end of the pack. I just love the fact that that little Mini is right in there between the two E36 BMWs, second position overall ahead of the RX-7. The front four pulling away just a little bit. Fred Phillips in the Morgan ahead of the first of the Mazda MX-5s, and then the MGB coming through behind that. What a fantastic variety of motor cars. Exactly the same, but completely different.
I love the eclecticness of this class as well, Gary. Not everything is all alike and the same. Gunter Appelgren back up into second position now, meaning that Greg goes down into third position. Then Jan Kokemoer will still hold up the fourth position, but Fred Phillips in the end, in the Morgan, will be holding up the fifth. But he's broken up a gap between himself. I see the little MGB coming through on Toscano's Mazda, and of course that is the MGB of Rodney Green.
Well, that second group of cars very, very close to one another, and bringing up the tail in ninth position in that grouping is Redling Ace, Rowe just in front of that, Green just in front of that, and then a bit of a gap, and then to Robbie Toscano, and then obviously from there is the gap to fifth place into Phillips, and Phillips is the Morgan that's just broken away a little bit now from the Mazda MX-5.
See, Chris Champion is ahead in the V8 MGB, and he's being hassled there by the Skyline as they go into turn 3. They've left one of the other Austin Healey's behind, and that Skyline, of course, being campaigned there by Stephen Manuel, who's right. He was a second 0.5.
Oh, sorry, a flashing yellow at the bottom end of the front main. There must be somebody off, out of vision from us. We can't see it. I don't see it on the camera shot either, so it must be behind the building. Or there might be fluid on the circuit, not too sure. Oh, I think it's Melanie Cook. Is that Melanie Cook?
I think it is.
No, it's not.
No,
it's
not
Melanie
Melanie
that's
Cook.
coming through here.
No.
There's a white 3 Series Beamer that's gone off in turn number 5. We'll try and pick that up when they come through.
Yeah, there was quite delayed there, Gary, because we were looking for the puff of smoke and we couldn't see it. Then suddenly here comes a BMW going all sideways as they go across the line. I think that is Bradley Rowe, who was in 9th position. Bradley Rowe, he's now out of the race, looks like it, or is he back in? Oh, no,
He's just come through now.
Wonderful. Okay, so he's lost quite a number of places, but not all of these places, as a matter.
Not only has he lost places, he's lost a piece of his sanity. I think going down there probably around about the 180, 190, closing on 200 kilometers an hour. You got a U-turn in front of you. Should you not make it, just for safety's sake, the West Province Killarney marshals have got a big bunch of tires there, and if you make it through the tires, there's a vibratreat wall to say hello to you on the other side of that. So it's kind of how long have you got the ironies to keep your foot flat when you go down into Fastron corner.
Mauricio Toscano in the Passat, the VW Passat. He's in the pit lane now, and he stopped from where the cone is. I don't know what if there's any problems over there. One of the marshals is talking to him, but as we say that now, Alan Dyke will come across in the Austin Healey. He'll be basically the virtual last place, but here comes Melanie Cook now. He'll probably be the first casualty to be lapped, and Melanie Cook, she's actually lost a bit of ground there, looks like it, to Gunter Appelgren as they come onto the straight now. All BMW 1-2, and then the Mazda RX-7 hunting them down as well in this latter part of the race.
And what do you see in 4th position? A Mini.
A Mini, and Mini can actually take there's a bit of locking up there going with the MGB there, Gary, because what happens is now wheel-to-wheel racing, and the Morgan has fallen behind them, and the MX-6 there as well of Robert Toscano, and on the old Joubert Straight.
It must be an utter pleasure to drive these motor cars around the circuit, although it's almost a sin to drive them, to overdrive them and to kill them out there on the circuit. A lot of the guys...
Oh, Gary, there was just a little bit of a moment there by the Escort, but thankfully the Escort is now back up and running again. That is the Zero car of Craig Redlingace.
He was in a nice dice early on. I think he might have had a little bit of a slow spot somewhere because he's broken himself away from that big group that he was in. So maybe just pushing it slightly out of what that car is capable of and costing him in the long run, and that will affect his index of performance as well.
It will. It's all about those consistent lap times. As the little number 2 Mini comes past our position over here as well, one of 2 of them in the races. He'll be a little bit further back in the field though, Dave Alexander. And Dave Alexander currently 17th ahead of Guy Dugmore and Roger Lewis. We were talking about earlier on, but Roger Lewis did get into the race there with the MGA. Here comes Melanie Cook now, and watch out there for the Austin Healey against the Mazda of Jan Koekemoer. I think being lapped now at this time as well anyway. So they come across the line, and it looks like it's visibly close here for Gunther Appelgren. Remember, this is a 8-lap race. They've completed 6 laps now. So for this lap and the next one left to go, 9/10 of a second between Cook and Appelgren. And what happens is still Appelgren holding the fastest lap, looks like it at the moment. One of the fastest laps, Rodney Green got that a little earlier on.
In the last lap that they were out there, the third last lap, it's on the second last lap that they are now. Appelgren was a bit quicker than what the Melanie Cook was, feeling a bit of pressure from the RX-7 behind of Jan Koekemoer. And I think deciding, well, I'm going to push this as hard as I can. I can slowly but surely edge closer to the back bumper of that 3 Series BMW of the lady racer Melanie Cook. That's leading them out now through the double right-hander, out into the back main they go. It's a fair southeaster at the moment, not too bad, but enough to make a realistic difference if you've got that toe. The RX-7 not lost to the cause yet either.
It's going to be interesting, Gary. It was 9/10 of a second between the top 2 across the line last lap. We're going to be going now onto the last lap. As what happens is we go into turn 5, Fastron corner. The leaders come. The Mini of Dave Alexander will cross the line and might not just be right, they might do a full 8 laps. But here comes Melanie Cook now. It was 9/10 of a second. I think it might just be visibly closer between the 2 of them, Gary, as we go across now. And it's actually 8.5.1. So only a tenth of a second. I think what happens is if everything just stays on the tarmac, I think Melanie Cook might have this. I don't want to speak too soon.
Well, I must say, Rodney Green's done a pretty excellent job with that MGB. Held on initially, lost back a little bit of ground, and now started closing up. Minuscule, a 10 to 2/10 of that, but getting there closer and closer. Obviously just getting into the swing of things, the beginning of the 2021 season. Appelgren doing everything he can at this stage of the fight. Koekemoer actually starting to put a bit of pressure onto the back of Appelgren. I think Melanie Cook has got it. I think she's done enough. I don't see her making any mistakes from here on out. With the experience that she's got, I think she's going to be in for a checkered flag for her first race for 2021.
Well, she'll breeze past Dave Alexander's Mini there. She disposed of another Mini earlier on, and I don't think you'll cause too many troubles there being lapped. They go down the back straight now, and I think, yeah, look at that. It's going to be Jan Koekemoer, though. That's going to make a challenge there on the outside for Car Care Clinic. They come out. The checkered flag is out. They're down the back straight, side by side. Wankel versus reciprocating engine. We go now into Cape Town. Oh, sorry, no, rather into Fastron turn 5. And, well, we'll see them as they come around now, Gary. They'll run to the line. This is the checker.
Well, Melanie Cook's done it all right with them fighting it out. In fact, look at that. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Very, very close to one another. It's going to be the lady racer, Melanie Cook, that leads them home. Appelgren started in pole position. He'll end up in 2nd. Jan Koekemoer just ahead of Rodney Green. Probably one of his fastest laps on the last lap when he's closed up. Yup, he closed up a big, big gap there. Probably about 9/10 of a second. Phillips, Toscano, Greg coming through behind that. As they come across the line, Craig Redlinghuysen has come through as well. Natasha Tischendorf, our lady racer, she says, thanks very much. I enjoyed that one. I'll put a top 10 up for my first race for 2021.
Yeah, no, Natasha Tischendorf, the 1.8 litre Jetta that she comes in. I do see Stephen Manuel. Okay, this is now not going to be Stephen Manuel. This is going to be a Chris Champion. What happened? Stephen Manuel just comes across the line in the Skyline now. And Roger Lewis will finish in 18th behind Dave Alexander, who has just lapped. Ron Hollis will now still be out there because he hasn't been lapped. And Richard Champion, they haven't got the checkered flag yet, but that will be 15th and 16th respectively. Here they come around now. That will be, of course, the MGA Twin Cam in the 15th position and the Jaguar E-Type. So two members of our British Invasion group, as you can call them there. So that is the Bejo Trustees fine cars. Race 1 of 3 today. And looking at our, where are we going to next? We are going to be going to the Clubman's Classics and Breakfast Run cycles. So stay tuned. Cool. All right, so we go to bikes. Sorry, Frank, I know you're going to say something. I just jumped in there very quickly.
Yeah, we're going to get going pretty soon with the motorcycles, and that will be in the Clubman's A and B, the Classic and Breakfast Run bikes. They'll be coming out shortly for their opening race. A big thanks to Wingfield Motors and Best Price for my car, Mr. Johnny van der Kerk, commonly known as Mr. Johnny Wingfield. I want to say a big thanks to him. And then also a big thanks to the Porsche Club for the main straight, KFM 94.5 for turn 1 and for the Tygerberg straight, and Car Care Clinic for turn 4, Pertamina Fostron for turn 5, and the bridge this year sponsored by Mad Max Motorcycles. A big thanks to all of you guys and all our class sponsors as well. Without you people, this is not possible. Right, race number 2 for the day will be coming up shortly with the Clubman's A and B Classic and Breakfast Run bikes. We just on the monitor here, Byron, the WPMC marshals busy sorting out one of the fine cars that's had issues. We see some replays that was from qualifying this morning. There we see the fine cars working their way through, and a bit of contact out there, and that actually involved Maurizio Toscano, and that's the reason why we saw him in the new pit complex, the Jabé pit complex. So look at that, and that's why the marshals were sorting out that motor car. It had heavy impact with the wall coming out of turn number 3.
Yeah, that was a big impact there for the 635 BMW into the tyre barrier. That's why we have tyre barriers. Comes over there, and that was actually in turn 3, coming out of turn 3 into the tyre barriers there. As Frankie also pointed out, Maurizio Toscano in the VW Passat getting together with one of the Austin Healey's, and hopefully didn't damage the front left suspension, maybe a drive shaft. Oh, he got back to the pits, so I think he was fine over there. But I did see the BMW that's being driven by
Peter McPherson.
He got out of that car, which is a very good thing.
Yeah, he got out the motor car. As a matter of fact, as I look out the commentary box window towards turn 3, the marshals and the breakdown services are out there busy getting that BMW 635 out the way. But yeah, Peter McPherson was the man, or is the man that's behind the wheel of that BM. And I can quite safely say that Peter is fine. He climbed out that motor car. He is okay. It's just the marshals now that need to get that vehicle back into the pit area and see if the pit crew can get it sorted out for race 2 and race 3. They're still pretty busy there in turn 3 getting that BMW sorted out.
Well, you did see the replays now. If you were watching, that is the Passat versus the Austin Healey. The Austin Healey was Josh Dovey, the number 80 car. See, actually the left side passenger door even flew open for a brief moment, I think, over there. My eyes didn't deceive me. And he had a coming together with Maurizio Toscano. Here we go again. And yeah, you can see that the left front side of the car, you can see the grill's a little bit, well, the bumper's a little bit skew on that Passat. And I don't know if Dovey got going again over there. Just cuts away from that. They were coming into the, I think I was just after the McPherson BMW went off, that they had it coming together. So that last lap, Frankie, was quite a eventful lap with the fine cars.
Yeah, so the moment that BMW has been recovered by the marshals and brought back to the pit complex, we'll continue with the racing, keeping in mind that there's quite a lot of racing that's happening in the month of February. 2 weeks from today, Cape Hall drivers right here at the Kalani Oval will be hosting their opening event for 2021, keeping in mind that it is a year ago that Cape Hall drivers had their last event due to the current COVID-19 situation. And so, yeah, Francois van Tonder Trappis also races clubman, the chairman of the club. He and his entire team of Vicky Loubser, Michelle Brandt, and everybody else on the committee, Gary and myself, it's part of the subcommittee. We're pretty happy that we can get Cape Hall drivers back up and running again. And we are standing close to 70 entries so far for the 20th. And Sergio Abrams and the guys are working pretty hard together with the committee on the background to get that one up and running. So that will be on the 20th. Then fast forward 1 week, 27th. It will be part 2 of today's main circuit event. Keeping in mind that today, we've got the Bejo Trustees Fine Cars, the Clubman's Classic and Breakfast Run motorcycles, Suzuki South Superbikes, Sports and GT, and the GTI Challenge. That's happening today. On the 27th, Byron, that's the other classes. Classic cars will be out there. The Clubman's guys will be out there. The Power Sport bikes will be doing their thing. Formula Libre will be out that day as well. And then the V8 Masters and the Supercars will be campaigning on the 27th. So yeah, that's going to be a pretty big one. And then that evening or early or late afternoon after that event will be the club championship race at Mega Oval in Worcester. And then on the 6th of March, it will end the calendar on the 6th of March. It is the opening event after being closed for many, many, many years, for a couple of decades, to be quite honest. The Vescus Oval in Saldanha will be back up and running again on the 6th. And all these events that we've mentioned to you up until the 6th will be going out live stream. So that's a bit of the calendar information up until the 6th of March. Otherwise, if we go too far, everybody's going to start getting lost. So, yeah, that's about it. We're just waiting for the marshals to get that Peter McPherson BMW back into the pit complex, and then we'll commence with race number 2.
Yeah, the 635 BMW, they used to race those in the 80s. Hans-Joe Stuck used to race one in the Jägermeister colors, and well, they also Gerhard Berger did, I think, the Spa 24 hours in one as well in the BMW colors. So it's always actually a nice BMW I've always liked as well. 6-cylinder BMW, 3.5 liter, and well, they always make these beautiful sounds, these 6-cylinder BMWs. We know a lot around here, the more the 3 Series, the old boxy shaped ones that you sometimes see in the Clubman's class, and some of the better, the more newer ones from the 90s and the early to mid 90s. But we'll see the Bejo Trustees fine cars a bit later on again. Like I say again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. It's 3 races today for cars that are older than the than 1995. 31st of December 1994 is the cutoff date, but there are the invitations that you can have and everything as well for other cars. But we'll chat to you a bit soon whilst they're getting McPherson out there, and we'll have bikes coming up in the next few minutes. Well, race 2 then coming up of the Bejo Trustees fine cars, and quite a big field as we were talking about actually earlier on. Melanie Cook in the BMW 325 starting on pole position. I spoke very briefly to Gunther Appelgrein earlier on. He had some fun earlier on. And of course the Bejo Trustees fine cars, I'm just going to say, you see on your screen the MX5 Club, also very well and truly involved, and the only MX5 out there is the Robert Toscano, #1 MX5. We used to have, I think a few more years back, we had the guys like Sudhir Matai. He had a one running out there. A few years he hasn't been doing that now, but still got it. But hopefully we can see him come back in the future. We need some more entrants as well. Remember, we don't have classic cars today. That will be in our second bit of our meeting that will come later this month. And well, I saw, talking about folks joining, I saw the car, the BMW 635, was jacked up in the garages, and I saw that McPherson was trying to get the bumper reattached to that car. All the scrapes on the side. It looks like he's hoping to be back out for the second race of the day. I hope that will be the case. As Alan Dyke in the Austin Healey, Maurizio Toscano in the Passat GLX-5, and then Ron Hollis in the Jaguar E-Type, the beautiful E-Type. Enzo Ferrari himself said that the Jaguar E-Type, one of the most beautiful cars he'd ever seen. Steve Emanuel in the Nissan Skyline having a good break at lunchtime, I saw, behind the wheel of that car. Under the garage shade, that's always lovely to see. Di Dugmore in his Austin Healey Sprite, and then Roger Lewis in the MGA. And we had one MGA earlier on today that didn't make it through the full qualifying, but he came back. Jan Kukumur in the Mazda RX-7. Pretty car. We're going to take a look downstairs earlier on. I like the RX-7s. And he was parked in this beautiful red machine, and he's going to be starting third. Rodney Green in the MGB, one of two MGBs out there, with Fred Phillips in the Morgan 4/4, and then I talked about Robert Toscano. There goes on your screen now. It was the two Mazdas coming past, the MGB, two BMWs at the front, the bright green one of Gunther Appelgren, who will also be joining me at the Gymkhana test on the 20th. Remember, some big events happening on the 20th. We have CHD that day as well, which all you oval racing fans will be excited to see. That will also be live streamed.
Quite right, Byron. That one will be live streamed, and we'll get more information to you people out there. Just look at Facebook, Second Gear Talk Show, Western Province, or should I say Western Cape commentators, Rage Racing, Rage Productions, and Racers Blog and Tiny Spitbox, and an update on Oval Track Racing. That's basically the pages or the groups that you will find all the information regarding Cape Old drivers on the 20th. Then we come back here on the 27th for the second half of today's show. And that will include the likes of Clubman's cars, classic cars, supercars and V8 Masters, Formula Libras, and the two Power Sport class motorcycles. That will be on the 27th. And then directly after that, there will be a huge event at Mega Oval in Worcester. And that's basically the opener for 2021 down there. So that's going to be your program up until the end of March, and then we'll fast forward 1 week to the 6th of March, where the Vescus Oval Club in Saldanha is reopening and having their first race event after many, and I mean many years where nothing happened out there. That race event will take place on the 6th of March. Then I must also add that the CHD event on the 20th, Mega Oval on the 27th, and that event on the 6th of March will be done by Promax Sound, Mr. Corne van Niekerk, the man from Springbok. That will be there at IMUSAT. He's the same people that will be doing the race event on the 27th. These are the people that are covering today's race event, and I must say to Gareth and their team, absolutely amazing. These guys are brilliant. They are the best of the best. They listen to the commentators. They literally go to wherever the commentators are speaking, and you can have if you're not on their page yet, go to IMUSAT and on YouTube and on WhatsApp. They've covered every main circuit event from August last year when the live streaming started right through, and they're going to continue doing so. Stephen and the guys, so much work has gone down in the background with us not knowing exactly what has been happening here, and big thanks to Stephen, Gareth, everybody else that's involved from the IMUSAT side. Thank you very much. These guys are absolutely brilliant, and they are one floor down from the commentators. They just sit and listen to us scream and shout, the whole day, and they just point the cameras wherever we ask them to go, and then that is the way it gets done. So it looks like we're about to get going. Byron, the safety car is making its way down the Japan Straight towards turn 2, and the fine car brigade makes the way off the line. I had a chat to JB Pretorius downstairs early on, and man that's recovering from a very serious illness, has had to have chemo and all sorts of things. He's looking very, very good, and he is the chairman of the fine car section, and he is looking very well after, while he's still busy recovering from a very serious illness that he's had for a long time, and he's looking very good. And he said to me he's pretty happy with the amount of cars that are out here in the fine cars today.
Now I remember JB Pretorius always campaigning his 2002 BMW, and a lot of his, I joked with him earlier on, I always remember on his emails, BMW Groete was always along with his name. And it's always...
white BM 2002, yeah.
He was a lovely guy to actually have around, always very passionate about his racing. And, well, you know, what happens is he's been through some tough times. He said to me, welcome back. And I said to him, welcome back as well, because we're both returning. But, well, a nice group of eclectic cars. I like it this way, you know. Not everything must look exactly the same. You need all the different shapes and sizes. As far as bodies are concerned, as far as engines are concerned, we got rotaries, we got, you know, we got piston engines, you know, you name it out there, 6 cylinders, 4 cylinders, you name it, it's all out there. And well, the Kia safety car will be taking them around. Kia lending us a safety car today.
Well, you've got to give a big thumbs up to Melanie Cook. Remember, she was driving that Jetta 1 around, which is a front-wheel drive, and she's in that Albert Cook BMW that's rear-wheel drive. And it's only a second or third outing that she's been out there in that motor car, maybe a touch more. But to adapt from a slower car to a quicker car, from a front-wheel drive to a rear-wheel drive, she's done that extremely well. And Albert Cook, of course, the dad of Melanie, and she is in that car, and she's doing extremely well out there. The lady racer showing the guys the way to the checkered flag. Yes, I like that one for sure, with Appelgrein that sits there on Gunther Appelgrein in that green BM, and then the RX-7 of Jan Koekemoer right in there as well. Now, Jan Koekemoer is an ex-motorcycle rider here at Killarney.
Yeah, that's when you you grow a bit of sense and start racing cars instead of bikes.
Don't tell that to the 2-year-old guys.
I'm going to get beaten up later, I can tell you that.
You're going to get out this place live.
No, they're going to blockade me in with their bikes, and I'm going to tell you that's going to be a scary thought, that, Frankie.
Right, Byron, take them off the line.
Well, here we go now for the start of this second of 3 races. Away we go now, and lights are out, rolling start, and they'll make their way towards turn 1. And well, on the brakes there as well, nice and gingerly through there, and it looks like it's going to be Melanie Cook holding the lead here. Jan Koekemoer in the RX-7 on the inside of Gunther Appelgrein's BMW. He'll take second place right away from Gunther Appelgrein. Watch out behind them as well. There comes the Morgan that is coming through now by Fred Phillips. He will go up into 4th position, forcing that little Rodney Green MGB down into 5th position. And where is Rob Toscano? He should be near in that group as well. I think he's just ahead of the Escort there behind him.
Craig Reelinghuis is in that Escort. I see Natasha Tissendorf, the other lady racer in the VW Fox, is making her way up through the field as well as they head up the KFM straight now towards turn 4. Car Care Clinic, out of Car Care Clinic, down the back main. They race now, and Melanie Cook is now getting the hammer down as she's getting away from the RX-7 of Jan Koekemoer, who's got that BMW right in there behind him of Gunther Appelgrein as they work their way into turn 5, Fostron corner.
Well, turn 5, Fostron corner, coming to complete their first of 8 laps. And it's amazing, Frankie, speaking to Gary earlier on as well, about that this is actually not always about wheel-to-wheel racing. It's about consistent times. It's about an index of performance. But try telling the drivers that when the lights go out and the horns grow, because what happens is you see somebody in front of you, you want to catch them. That's it.
It sure as heck want to be right up there with them as the field heads back into turn 1. out of KFM corner, turn number 1. Melanie Cook leads him out with Jan Koekemoed in that second position. Third is Gunther Appelgren. There's a bit of a gap before we see the Morgan of Fred Phillips right in there, being hassled by Rodney Green. Rodney Green's got Rowe right there with him. That's Bradley Rowe. In there, he goes high, he goes wide, and diving up on the inside. That is the MX5 of Robbie Toscano. And Craig Riedlingace is right in there as well with that Mark II Ford Escort as they head through turn number 3.
All rear-wheel drive battle there, Frankie. The BMW holding off it's the other Mazda, but what happens is it is the Escort of Riedlingace. They'll be all over the back of the MX-5, and they'll go down into the Car Care Clinic corner. But now look at Jan Koekemoed. Jan Koekemoed will be in the slipstream of Melanie Cook's BMW. Watch out there for the BMW of Gunther Appelgren as well as they make their way up to turn 5, Fastron corner. And who is going to emerge ahead? It's still Melanie Cook. It is still Jan Koekemoed. So no changes at the moment now. Jan Koekemoed was fastest in the first sector. Second sector was Gunther Appelgren. They're trading times. Who will come across the line over here much quicker? And you'll see there in the slipstream will be Gunther Appelgren. He'll make a move down under the Mad Max bridge and we'll start another lap. And I think what happens is he might just take second place now right away there, Frankie. Gunther Appelgren.
At this point in time, Gunther Appelgren is the quickest man up there with a 1:35.201, and he is in that second place. He's moved back up into second, head of the RX-7 of Jan Koekemoed as they work their way up the Jabez Straight towards turn number 2. 2 BMWs and a Mazda RX-7 lying first, second and third. Then it's the Morgan that's there in the P4 of Fred Phillips. He's been chased there by Rodney Green, then the MX-5 of Robert Toscano, and then Rose sits in there with that BMW right in there behind him. The Mark II Ford Escort of Craig Riedlingace rounds off that group working out of turn 3.
Yeah, Riedlingace is keeping in there, but I see Stephen Manuel in the Nissan Skyline further down the field. He looks like he is trailing the Jaguar E-Type, as a matter of fact, there. And we'll see them as they come up now, who they all are. That is, of course, Ron Hollis in the in that machine. And Steve Emmanuel actually fell behind him, so they went from 12th to 13th. Alan Dyke also 7/10 of a second back in the Austin Healey. And while they come through now into turn 5, Fastron corner, we'll see the back on the screen over there of the Skyline. Beautiful car that. And while they come around, they just complete lap 3 of this race. Melanie Cook comes through now. It was a 10th of a second. It's now 1.1. So she's got the fastest lap, though, of a 1:34.8. Well, actually now 1:34.533 by Robert Toscano. What a nice lap, that one.
Yeah, well, she had the quickest lap there for, I think, 3 seconds. And then
if
it was taken away there from her by the MX-5 of Robbie Toscano, doing a 1:34.533. But the leaders are making their way through turn number 2 now. The BMWs and the RX-7 heading out of turn 2, working their way through the kink, heading down to turn 3. The BM still sitting out there in P1 and 2. Lady Racer, Melanie Cook right behind her, Gunther Appelgren. Bit of a gap before we see the RX-7 working its way out of turn 3 in the hands of Jan Koekemoed. Then it's that Morgan of Fred Phillips. Then Rodney Green has been hassled there by Robert Toscano as they work their way through turn number 4, Car Care Clinic. Down the back main, they work their way. The BMWs are nose to tail, and right behind Phillips, it is Green and Toscano that is also nose to tail, and they've been caught there by Bradley Rowe in the number 10 BMW.
Yeah, Riedlingace has actually fallen back there in the Ford Escort. We'll just see over here, Riedlingace's 8th position, number 0 car, having fallen 2.6 seconds behind Bradley Rowe. But now, coming through onto the main straight underneath the Mad Max bridge, it was, the gap is closed, I'll tell you that much. We're talking about 1.1 seconds it was the last time around, and coming across the line to 0.8 of a second. Fred Phillips in the Morgan is a 1:33.927.
Well, Gunther Appelgren had the quickest lap for about 2 seconds, if that long, and then it was the 44 Morgan of Fred Phillips. He's the quickest man out there with a 1:33.927. So the lap times are coming down. And the Bejo Trustee fine car drivers are having a lot of fun out there. I want to have a look at that dice between the MG and there they go, the MG and the MX-5. They're making their way through the kink, heading in towards turn 3. They're just behind the Morgan of Fred Phillips, Rodney Green in the MG, and Robert Toscano in the Mazda MX-5. He's a lot quicker out of turn 3. He's Toscano right on the back bumper of the MG as they head through turn number 4, Car Care Clinic. The two BMWs also making their way down the back straight, and Gunther Appelcrane, Byron, is having a go up on the inside there of Melanie Cook as they head into turn 5.
Well, let's watch them towards turn 5. Frostron over here, he took quite a bit of time. He took about 0.3 of a second out of Melanie Cook's BMW. So the all BMW battle over there as they come around Frostron now, and then they'll rocket it towards the line to complete what is lap 5 of this race with another 3 left to go. They go across the line. It was 0.8. It's now 0.6 of a second. So he's taken 0.2 out. Jan Kukamur in the 3.2 seconds back of that. In the well, he's actually being passed right now, as a matter of fact, in turn 1 by the Morgan of Fred Phillips. Fred Phillips is he's flying on this last lap. He's been putting in fast lap times as well.
Well, it's certainly got missile lock on the two BMWs ahead of him as they work their way out of turn number 2. So that Morgan, he's not slow sitting there in that 3rd position, but he's got that RX-7 of Jan Kukamur right in there behind him, the Morgan of Rodney Green, and the Mazda MX-5 of Robert Toscano. They are all in the picture as they head out over turn number 3, working uphill. That's the KFM straight, slightly uphill. It levels out there in turn number 4, and then they work their way down the back main.
Robert Toscano, very impressive drive from him here as well in that MX-5 Roadster. He's all over the back there of the MGB of Rodney Green, and he may make inroads very shortly, but a very underrated machine, that rear-wheel drive MX-5 going up against the old British classic as they go now into the Fastron corner. They're going past an MGA there, Frankie, and the MGA just having to keep out of the way so the leaders can come through, and that might have affected Gunther Appelcrane. 0.6 of a second around the last lap he was off of Melanie Cook. He might have just lost a little bit of time there now because of the Chris Champion MG.
Well, he just kept right out the way there. He does Champion. All the leaders are working through turn number 1, KFM corner. The BMWs, the Morgan, the RX-7, the MGs, the MX-5s, they're all in there, all different car makes, as that whole group of cars work their way through turn number 2. Out of turn 2 they come now. Melanie Cook in P1, Gunther Appelcrane in 2nd place. The Morgan of Fred Phillips is in 3rd. 4th is the RX-7 of Jan Kukamur, but he's been hassled there by the MG of Rodney Green and the MX-5 of Robbie Toscano. The 3 of them are right there with each other, Byron, as they exit turn 3.
Watch them as they come around now out of turn 3 towards turn 4, Car Care Clinic corner. They'll be coming up now. There's Dave Alexander that's near the back of the field now. He'll be the next man to be lapped. I think they just got past Di Dugmore. And as well as that, there was an MGA that they made their way past as well. And I think that was the twin cab one of Richard Champion. But I think he's still actually on the lead lap, well, for the moment. And then they'll come around now, Dave Alexander with that machine ahead of him of Di Dugmore. Yeah, they're coming up for Di Dugmore now. And they'll start what will be the second last lap of this race. Because there are 8 laps. It's now lap 7 done and dusted, and Melanie Cook comes across the line, and a 33.486 for Gunther Appelcrane, but he's 1.3 seconds back now.
Yeah, he's 1.3 seconds back, but still the quickest man out there. 1:33.486. I'm watching a bit further down, heading towards the Mad Max Bridge. We've got the Mark II Ford Escort and the BMW. They're heading towards us now. That's Bradley Rowe on the inside of the Craig Redlingace Escort, and the BMW just diving through up on the inside of the Escort, heading through and out of turn number 1 KFM. He goes high and he goes off the circuit. Bradley Rowe, well, I was just singing his praises a couple of seconds ago, and he goes high and he goes wide and he makes a big mistake, and that has now released the escort of Redlinghuysen to do his own thing as he works his way out of turn 2.
A very early Christmas present there for
Very early, yeah.
for the escort man, and he will then, I think the row has got back onto the circuit, but Redlinghuysen will now be in 7th position behind Rob Toscano. But now it is the checkered flag coming past us. Now is the man, of course, Hollis. That comes in the E-type, and then we now watch out through turn 5, Fastron corner. The checkered flag awaits, and Gunther Appelgren was close at one stage to Melanie Cook. He fell a bit back, and Melanie Cook will make it another victory here as she comes along here. Very great racing from her. Win for her. Gunther Appelgren will be in 2nd position. Then the Morgan there of Fred Phillips will be in 3rd position. MGB of Rodney Green. Jan Kukemoer will be in 5th position in the RX-7. Rob Toscano in the other Mazda in the MX-5 will be 6th position. And then will be Rowe. Well, Redlinghuysen will come first. Here comes Redlinghuysen now in the escort, number 0. Then I think Tischendorf will come after that because Rowe did go off the circuit. Here comes the 1.8 litre Jetta. Then we have the Rowe BMW. And then it looks like we're going to have, it looks like Stephen Manuel will be first Dyke, then Manuel. Dyke comes across the line in the MGA. And then we have Maurizio Toscano in the Battle Scarred. I had a quick chat with him actually earlier on before the race. The Passat, the 5-cylinder Passat. Then we have the first of the champions, and I mean champion in surname. And I think that's Chris Champion that will come across the line now. That will be Richard Champion, sorry. That will be in the MGA Twin Cam. Ron Hollis, we talked about earlier on in the Jaguar E-Type. Dave Alexander will finish in 16th in the Mini, and Roger Lewis in the MGA will finish in 17th.
So the front two already there onto the grid. 2 E36 BMWs, his car and her car. Melanie Cook and Gunther Appelgren. Fred Phillips, Rodney Green come up onto the line. Demoted, if you want to call it that. Down to the 3rd row is the RX-7. The two Mazdas alongside one another, the rotary versus pistons. The rest of the guys moving up. See there, the escort's now moving up into its position as well. That's Craig Redlinghuysen. He'll be on the 4th row on the inside. Lovely looking motor car that, I must say. All of these cars, in fact, are very, very neat, very well prepared. A lot of pride, not so much money, but pride put into the Bejo Trustees fine cars. Always polished up, always super duper neat. Nothing fancy whatsoever. Original look, original styling, original coloring, but driven with passion and prepared and brought to the track with lots of love and TLC.
And the great thing as well, Gary, most of them you can actually drive home at the end of an event as well, because they all still got their, their licenses. They're still roadworthy, everything like that. They're not just racing cars. A lot of them, they put roll cages in. I think the most basic roll cage you can use is a 3-point roll cage that you have to have in at least. And we saw that earlier on, luckily with Peter McPherson in the BMW, that why you need roll cages and so on, even though he didn't roll. But they'll be doing a rolling start. Once again, the Kia safety car will take them around. You'll see the little Kia going now into the 2nd turn, turn 2. There is Rowe in his BMW, one of the handful of BMWs we've been talking about. Maurizio Toscano in the VW Passat, the GLX Passat. And they will on to the Joubert Straight now before going into the turn 2 section for the 9th and last time, I'll say, because we still have an 8-lap race coming up ahead. Watch out for the little escort using the number 0. It's very, very rare that you actually see the number 0 on a racing car around Killarney. I can't recall the last time I saw anything of that sort.
In general, I think most classes don't allow the use of the number 0. And I think that's based pretty much, and I'm guessing now, on the auspices of rally, where your 0 or your 0-0 car would be the first vehicle to go out and check that the route's open and clear and what have you. And in general, no, you don't find a number 0 car in most of the classes, main circuit, oval, rally, maybe radio controlled. Just a thought I'd share that with you. It's been a long day.
It could be possible, you know, a form of racing on its own as well. It does count as motorsport, whether it's electric or petrol. And, well, yeah, now I'm thinking about the 0. I remember, here's a little bit of a fact from Formula One. The last time that was used was way back in 1994 by Damon Hill for Williams. In the FW16. He used it with the FW15C in 1993 as well. And the reason they used that was because the reigning champion in both years was not on the grid that year. They retired, of course, Mansell retired in 1992 temporarily, and Prost retired in 1993, at the end of 93. So Damon Hill, on each of those occasions, used the number 0, whilst his teammate used number 2.
I can't even remember what I had for breakfast yesterday morning. But thank you for that insight. So once again, we've got 2 gurus upstairs here with all the knowledge. Where they find all the stuff, heaven alone knows, but always interesting to have people with lots of background information and knowledge with you up here in the commentary box. 22 entries out there, 8 laps from lights to flag. The lady racer, Melanie Cook, she says, you want to have 3 races in a day? I'll beat you 3 times. Take it off the line.
Lights out and away we go for the 3rd and last race for the Bejo Trustee Fine Cars. Nice and easily does it into turn 1. A lot of the guys and girls racing for fun. They don't want to have any big repair bills. So they'll make their way through turn 1 for the first time in this 3rd race. And Melanie Cook will still have the lead ahead of Gunther Appelgren. Watch out behind though. I think it's going to be Rodney Green that's going to poke his nose on the inside of the Morgan there of Fred Phillips. Watch out for the Mazda of Rob Toscano. It looks like Jan Kukumur in the rotary Mazda has fallen down a little bit, and it's got Redling Ace alongside him on the outside in that Escort, as Rowe will then poke his nose ahead of the Jetta there of Natasha Tischendorf going into turn 3.
Oh, that little blue Escort not backing out whatsoever. You want to go one-on-one, I'll go side by side with you through the kink. And you've got to have a bit of experience to do that. It's not a very slow part of the circuit. It gets very, very tight if you're 2 abreast coming through there. There's a lot of places where you can go much safer 2 abreast. But then again, if you're going to back out every time somebody's a little bit close to you, you're never going to get to the front of the pack like what Melanie Cook is doing right now. What a lovely camera shot as they climb hard on the brakes with those E36 BMWs going down into turn number 1. Melanie Cook showing Appelgren the way around. I don't think that Gunther has got an answer for Melanie. I think that car-driver combination is really dialed in very decently, and I think she's going to stretch them out today.
I think it's still very promising for the season for Appelgren to start off with 3 second places. He's a second off after the first lap. Green will be in 3rd position. Toscano, 5/10 of a second, so half a second off of Green there, and then Jan Kukumur following suit there as well as they go once again to start lap 2 and go into turn 1. Just a little bit further back, Hollis coming up, Champion coming up, McPherson in 16th in the BMW as well. So Alan Dyke coming up into 9th in the Austin Healey. So very nice and clean. So I see here the first 2 sectors from Melanie Cook already. Fastest, purple sectors.
Rodney Green looking pretty decent. 3rd overall out there right now. And looking very comfortable, not using all of the circuit, using a lot of the circuit, but not climbing the curbstones at all with that MGB. Although a fastest first sector there by the Mazda MX-5 in the hands of the somewhat popular Rob Toscano. Man, it's been with the Bejo Trustee Fine Cars group for a long, long time. And that 3rd and 4th position definitely up for grabs. No doubt about it, between the MGB and the Mazda MX-5. 3 seconds further back, Jan Kukumur in the RX-7. And right on his back bumper, the Ford Escort.
Maurizio Toscano, I see holding off. He's a little bit ahead there of the fellow VW of Natasha Tischendorf. 2 very different VWs, those. The very family-oriented VW, the Passat, against the more sportier looking CLI VW 1.8 litre Jetta as they come across the line. Now here comes Jan Kukumur now. He will come across the line, of course, after Melanie Cook will still hold that lead. Gunther Appelgren falling a little bit back with Rodney Green holding up third place still. Rowe comes across the line ahead of one of the, I think it's still one of the Austin Healey's that's behind him over there, a little bit further back.
Well, it's not over up front. There's faster sectors trading between first and second position between the E36 BMWs. A 34.4 from Melanie, a 34.32 from Gunther, a 34.6 by Rodney Green. So Rodney Green, although there's a bit of a gap back to him, not being dusted on overall lap times whatsoever, holding on very capably to that third position. And that ahead of the MX-5 of Rob Toscano, who's also now turned up the wick and done a PB of 32.4 in sector number 1. The two of them getting away by 3.5 seconds for the next man down the road.
Yeah, I think he's about a second behind. Rodney Green is Robert Toscano, so he's going to turn the wick up just a little bit. It looks also as well that Gunther Appelgren might slightly be closer to Melanie Cook as well. We saw in the last race that about this stage of the race, Gunther starts putting on the pace, and then towards the end of the race, Melanie Cook starts responding. We'll see if that will happen now, but yeah, they come down onto the straight now. Gunther Appelgren's got the fastest lap of the race of a 1:34.1 now. He just made it quicker, and that's a purple time there. 0.8 of a second off of Melanie Cook with Rodney Green, and 0.8 of a second off of him, Robert Toscano.
Well, you visually see the difference in the gap. When you look at it on the timing screen, it's a 1/10 of a second. That's all. 1/10 of a second difference, and you can visually see how close they are to one another. So some personal best times going through there with the two of them. Let's go a little bit further down the track. Robert Toscano in the MX-5 ahead of the MX-7, so he'll be pretty happy with that one. There's not much difference in the pace from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. They're all pretty close to one another. Alan Dyke having moved up ahead of Bradley Rowe, and Mauricio Toscano ahead of Fred Phillips. That 7th and 8th positions changing, and 9th and 10th position as well. Our cameraman has realized that there's two-way battles up front, and picking up some lovely footage for us for that battle for first and second, and then that second battle for third and fourth position.
You see Ron Hollis and Richard Champion, they all the way down in 15th and 16th positions having a good battle with each other. You see the measure down the straight, Ron Hollis in the E-Type has over the MGA, but when they get to the corners under braking, you'll see that Champion will make his way right ahead again. So it's an interesting dynamic between them. And well, we are now 3 laps in, coming up now 4 laps in to this race. And going into turn 1 now. Going into turn 1 now, once again, Melanie Cook starting to spread out now a little bit again, Gary. It was 0.8 between Cook and Appelgren, now 1.2 seconds. So she started to turn it up very early again.
Pretty much, as you said, she goes very quick initially. I see, holding a hand out the window, is that the Toscano? Yeah, I picked it up. I was actually looking at the TV, and there was a nice close-up shot there of Toscano as he came out of KFM. He had his right arm out the window, indicating this one doesn't want to go any further. Jan Kukumur was the first one that got to him. The escort coming through there now as well, so definitely picking up a mechanical error on that motor car. Is he going to be able to finish it? Well, remember, it's index of performance, so you need to pick up whatever you can possibly get out of the event. Let's hope he can at least get to the end of this one. 2 out of 3 is okay. But even if he finishes the third one, he will then be looking a whole heap better going into the next round for 2021.
Yeah, the marshals will be waving the white flags on the circuit, slow-moving vehicle on the circuit, as well, one of the MGAs goes across the line now. We'll start their next lap. They'll be the first to be lapped because I think that is Roger Lewis that is in danger. He'll be the first casualty of being lapped. Here comes Melanie Cook now, and the BMW ahead of the second BMW of Gunther Appelgren. It looks like an MGB of Rodney Green. Fastest lap for him, a 1:33.665. They started to close the gap to Gunther Appelgren to 0.7 of a second.
Having not been on the fastest lap anywhere, and now all of a sudden with 4 to go, that just shows you exactly how hard he's pushing. He sees those E36 BMs in front of him, and he's just pushing that last little bit. Rodney Green with the MGB, taking it to the utter limit, and maybe he can split those E36s. With 3 to go, can he maybe mess up the after party for the Cook family? It's not impossible. He's done a 32.5 as opposed to a 32.7 and a 32.9 of Melanie and Gunther in front of him. Rodney Green is the man on the move.
Well, still well and truly in this race as well. Just taking a look on these timing sheets where McPherson is at this time. He was a little bit further to the back, but he is currently 11th and battling it out with Fred Phillips. Fred Phillips started third in this race, Gary, and has fallen all the way down to outside of the top 10, 12th position, not having the greatest race over here now as well. But we have now completed 6 laps of this race, and we now watch them as they come out of Fastron Turn 5 underneath the Mad Max Bridge. Here comes Melanie Cook now. It was 0.7 of a second between Rodney Green and Gunther Appelgren the last time out, as the MGB closed the gap slightly more, and you'll see it now. It's been expanded. So what happens is it looks like Gunther Appelgren has had to turn it up just a little bit to keep the MGB at bay over there. Kukumur has come up, thankfully for him. I wonder now, I want to see actually, I think here is the MX-5 that's pulled into the pits of Rob Toscano.
He's not going to be able to finish this one. He did stick his hand out the window when he went through turn 1 KFM corner, rode slowly around from there, and we were hoping that he was going to be able to still carry on, but unfortunately not. He has decided it's going to have to put that one, unfortunately, back into the garage. And the bike moves up 1 position, finds himself now rounding out the top 5.
Well, the Austin Healy coming across the line over here. I think it was Di Dugball that just came across there, and well, he'll be ahead of one of the MGAs as well. But that rounds off the field. I see Dave Alexander coming around, and I think that's Roger Lewis with him. Yeah, Dave Alexander and Roger Lewis having a good battle for what is 17th and 18th positions. That's the last in the field. But that looks like it's going to carry on for just a little bit more. Melanie Cook still leads though, 1.5 seconds ahead of Gunther Appelgren here. Jan Kukumur in 4th. And here come our leaders now once again, and it's going to be 1 lap left to go in this race.
I don't believe there's going to be any change of position with those 3 from here on out. I think Melanie's going as hard as she can go. I'm pretty sure Gunther's going as hard as he can go. He's using more and more width on the track as the race goes by. He looked to be under pressure for that second position at one stage of the fight, but Rodney Green has not been able to consummate that one at all. More and more smoke starting to trail out of one of the back markers. Is it Di Dugmore? Yeah, I saw that earlier on, but only when going through the corners, so probably a bit of an oil leak, but that is exactly where the marshals will climb in and say, even though we've got fancy stuff in place of the cement, we prefer you don't put the oil down. But it is a last lap. Rodney Green, a 1:33.665, has put up the fastest lap so far, and I believe that that one's going to stand at the end of this one. As we wait for our leaders to come out into the back main. There they go now, going to pick up a little bit of traffic unless Melanie Cook gets slowed up with that traffic, and I don't think she's going to. She's going to say thank you for the 3 races, and I hope you guys enjoyed your day. Explain to your mates at work on Monday how you were beaten by a girl 3 times on Saturday.
Well, they say all good things come in 3s, Gary, and what happens is I think she's simply being magnificent today, Melanie Cook. Yeah, she comes across the line now to complete her hat-trick. Great start to the season. Gunther Appelgren in likewise in 2nd position as well. Then Rodney Green in the MGB. Then Jan Kukumur in the Mazda RX-7. Alan Dyke finishes in 5th. And somebody gone off the circuit. I see dust fly. Is a Bradley Rowe. Just when 2 BMWs go across the line in 1st and 2nd, Bradley Rowe decides to take it off at the, and he's back on the circuit, I see. No, he's fine. He's back on the circuit. I think he just did a bit of rallying, and now will just complete his race. A bit of an eventful day for him. He'll finish quite a bit down now because Maurizio Toscano will take 6th. Riedlingaes will take 7th. Tischendorf will take 8th. Manuel will take 9th. And then I think, it will be Rowe that will come across the line ahead here of McPherson.
The main thing is didn't make any contact with the wall. So all well, no damage to the motor car. Derek Alser, Richard Champion, Ron Hollis, I think they have all been lapped. So pretty much just one more car to come across the line. And that will then wrap up the season opener 2021. Western Province Motor Club, Killarney International Raceway. Frankie Yennis, myself, Gary Fleming, Byron Height, ably assisted by the smallest guy in the team, Tiny, otherwise known to his mother as Emil Brunt. A big thanks to all three of you doing sterling job up here in the commentary box on a daily basis. Looking forward to being back here on the 26th. I'll leave it to the guys to close it off. From our side, Gary Fleming, drive home safely to those of you that are at the track, and we will see you back here on the 26th of January. Byron.
That's magnificent, Gary. Thank you very much. It's been a magnificent day of racing. And those of you watching, hope you really enjoyed it. And the great thing is, I know we've come to an end of a day, but the wonderful thing is we'll be doing this again not too long from now. So it's been great. Keep safe, keep well, and see you next time. Cheers.
Yeah, it's been an absolute fantastic race event out here today. Lots of action and brilliant stuff by all the campaigners. Yes, we'll be back, as Gary says, on Saturday, 27 February, for the second round of, or should I say, part 2 of this race event. The weekend before that, we'll do Cape Isle drivers. On the 27th, after this part 2, we'll go to Mega Oval in Worcester. And the Saturday after that, on the 6th of March, there's a race event at the Vescus Oval in Saldanha. So have a safe weekend further, everybody. Enjoy it. It's been an honor and a pleasure. I want to say big thanks to the main sponsor of this event. That's Johnny van Niekerk of Wingfield Motors, the Porsche Club, KFM, Car Care Clinic, Frostron, Mad Max Motorcycles, and all the class sponsors as well. Have a lekker weekend further, and bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Frankie, Gary, and Byron. It was an enjoyable day today, and yeah, good to be back at the racetrack, and we'll definitely see you guys next time. Keep an eye out on Second Gear Talk, the talk show. We'll bring you the latest information for all the motorsport activities here in the Western Cape and the surroundings as well. And yeah, Byron said, keep safe. Do your normal safety precautions you need to do, and we'll see you guys soon. Cheers.
Check out the crease. Low like I'm big foot, step on the beat. Make a man's run, tell me step out the case when the whole place scream. Gotta get out the